good day, good dag,
Good dag.
in the Viking tongue, or whatever the case may be. I'm your host, Bragi, as you very well know, and I'm here with a very good friend and a Viking.
Egil Thorsson,
Oh yes, Rashael.
and you as well.
Now today we're going to talk about and review another trailer. Now, if you're not already seeing the other two trailers we've done the Robin Hood trailer review. You can see that in the card up there. And you can also check out the latest trailer we did, which was King Arthur, the Legend of the Sword. You may see that in the card here. So please, after you watch this, go back and click those cards and watch them if you've not done so already. And this movie is King Arthur, the 2004 movie. Do you remember that one, Egil?
Yes, I've actually got said movie at home.
Yes, I have that movie on DVD. You
Yeah.
got it on DVD or VHS?
DVD.
DVD. Yes, and that was directed by Michael Bay, and of course it starred Clive Owen,
Yeah,
Ray Winston,
yeah.
and of course Keira Knightley.
Woof woof.
Yes, Egil likes Keira Knightley. Well, who doesn't? I'm very thirsty today.
It is water, by the way.
It is water.
That's all we can run to.
I know. The expenses here on Northworthy are very tight.
Well, if they give us more comments, then we can.
Yeah. Oh yes. So, you saw the trailer. What was your overall view of the trailer you saw earlier?
I enjoyed the film, I have to be honest.
Yeah, I did enjoy the film.
There are one or two things like a 12th century trebuchet.
Well, perhaps we'll talk about them as we go through the
Yeah.
list.
But overall, I recommend the film. I thought it was good fun. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I mean, if you compare it to the last King Arthur movie, it's so much better, isn't it, compared
So
to
much.
the other one?
I
So-
think what they've done is they've taken Gildas's Ruination of Britain and based it on that. I know it sounds very snobby, but if you've read Gildas, which I had to do,
No, I've not.
it's set as the as the Romans left Britain, got the Romano-British, and he looks on the invasion of the Saxons as a punishment from God.
Yeah, you can see that. It is a fantastic story, and we must always celebrate these movies for actually bringing the stories to us, because if we don't have these movies, then King Arthur would fade in memory, although I don't think it will ever will do.
It's part of the English psyche.
Yeah, so it's great they're doing that. But I got a rundown of the trailer. I'll try to remember this time to put the trailer in the description. So you've got the intro to the trailer. Remember the intro? You've got the Romanesque cavalryman, and he stands with a banner, a standard. Looks good, doesn't it? I thought that was quite a good intro, that. Although technically it's probably slightly out of the range area, because you know we're not sure, do we, where King Arthur lies and
If you
era of history.
want to be picky, he's in 2nd to 3rd century armour at the 4th, 5th century.
Yes.
So, okay, if you want to be picky.
So then you go to the opening of the gates, and I thought, yeah, a really nice gate of a wall, but the gates did look very clean to me. So they could do a bit of wear and dirt, because I mean, Hollywood often forgets this. Is that you build a gatehouse or a structure, over time they would have been worn, they would have got dirty. So overall, the impression of it was very good. I enjoyed it. I just thought it could have been a bit dirtier, but that's just me. And then you remember the next scene, you got the boy when he's putting the sword. So you see this boy, he's meant to be Arthur when he's young,
Yeah.
and he tries to pull Excalibur out, and this is kind of setting the scene for the movie, but you can't help but miss the sword, can you? You perhaps want to talk about the sword, Egil.
Well, it's one of those problems.
I'll drink.
The sword is a bit Dungeons and Dragony. The swords at this period,
Certainly is.
it would more than likely be a Roman Sparta or a standing man sword. But we could be too precious about this. I mean, overall, yeah, as I say, I thought it was a good film.
Yeah.
I've watched it. I've got the DVD.
Well, we're just talking about the trailer and
The trailer
reviewing.
is taken sections from the film and put them in a different order, because
When you-
in the film we see where the kid draws the sword from the stone. He's actually drawing it from his father's grave, and that's quite a way into the film.
Yeah, so you see this boy, and to me the sword had a kind of a look of being Conan the Barbarian's sword, a fantasy sword. So
yeah.
they could have done that a little bit better and had a more period style sword. So that's my only criticism there.
Something like you've got there.
Well, it's a bit later, but
it's a bit later, but you could have got away
yeah,
with that.
that's the type of example we're talking about. And you know, then you look at the sword cross card of the pommel and you know, it's all fantasy. It's nothing like something like this. It would have been plainer. Is what we're trying to say. So, you know, that's a bit of a disappointment for my mind.
Yeah, well,
in that trailer. And then you got the narration talks about this being a true story. But then again, you know, I'm sure Egil could talk about the fact that they got a lot of the story wrong. Egil?
Well, basically, we don't know whether Arthur existed at all.
No.
However, what they're basing as truth is, again, we go back to Gildas. He was born 44 years after the Battle of Mount Badon. Now, we know there was a big victory of the British over the Anglo-Saxons at a place called Mount Badon. We don't know where it was. We're not altogether sure of the time of it. But as you go through the film, there's the big battle by Hadrian's Wall where they get wiped out. That's what they try to say is Mount Badon. Now, we don't know as yet where it is. I'm sure one day we may find.
Yeah, there's lots of speculation where it was meant to have taken place, but I mean, that's another video in itself.
Well, Arthur himself, they found the grave at Glastonbury of a man with a head wound and a woman buried in a tree trunk of all things. They think might, when I say might, be, or you could say it's a Romano-British leader. Yeah,
so then the next scene you go to, you're seeing where the Romans taken barter, even though this is like in a Romano-British setting. They've got a whole mixture of Roman kit, from very early Roman kit to much later 3rd and 4th century stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, Roman armour changed and the fashion has changed. You wouldn't see it all in the same place, would you?
No, and also, you're talking hundreds of years between the periods.
Well, definitely so, you know.
And also, I mean, it's like I said earlier, you saw very impressive Arthur on his horse with the banner.
Oh, yeah.
But he's in, what, 1st, 2nd century?
Fundamentally so, yeah.
Lorica segmentata, Corbridge style.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so that's that. And does the armour look okay? Does it look a bit leathery, some of it? I think some of it did look a bit leathery to me.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is, it's a mistake archaeologists have done for years. What they forget is underneath your armour you have a leather jerkin, and you see armour that's like muscles.
Yeah.
What it is, it's a tight fit leather jacket which shows the muscle.
Well, this isn't that. This is basically armour, and they made it out of leather instead of metal. It's a massive thing in Hollywood to do this.
I'll be honest, I can't say whether that's true or not.
To me, it looked leathery. Now, I may be wrong. It could be metal. But with the tendency of Hollywood using leather armour a lot, and they kind of make it look really, really good.
What you have to think of, metal today is to a penny, but in this period, metal is extremely scarce and a rich man's resource.
Yeah.
This is why swords cost so much. Even the scramasax that I'm wearing would be seen on as
I mean, they could have made authentic leather tunics and jerkins instead of the leather fake armour. But that's that anyway. And then we come to the scene. You remember the scene of the round table? Although it's not actually a round table.
Yeah.
It's like an oval table with a big hole in the centre. And whenever I think of King Arthur and the round table, I just think of this massive round table like a shield, you know. But about, of course, the shield boss in the centre. Yeah. So, you know, they got that wrong in my mind. And of course, there was living within the Roman buildings, and that wasn't fundamentally done, was it?
There are the Saxons, when they came to this country, avoided the buildings. They said they were made by giants. And actual fact, on one dig, they were excavating a Roman villa, and they found a collapsed wall. They lifted it up, and underneath was the skeleton of a Saxon. Now, the thing is, yes, they know there were houses, but they hadn't got the technology for cement.
Well, they hadn't got the stonework and masonry skills.
They built in wood. That was the main.
But it's also very interesting, archaeological-wise, is that they found villas, and in the courtyard they found the post holes of Saxon houses.
Yeah.
So instead of living in the actual villa, which you would have thought you would have done it up, they actually didn't live in the villa. They put the animals in there, and the slaves maybe, and they would have lived in a longhouse in the courtyard.
That's because by the time the Saxons landed, the roof was leaking,
Well, of course
plaster was
so, yeah.
come off the walls, and they thought, well, it's a shame not to use
So I
it.
dump this,
Yeah.
I'm not living in that. So there's that. Yeah, so we've got living in Roman ruins, and then the man, like a Roman dude, called them knights. Well, knights is a much more medieval term, isn't it not?
Knight is actually...
Or am I wrong on that?
they wouldn't have called them knights.
No.
I don't know what they would have called them, but knights comes from the Saxon, meaning riders. They had cavalry.
Yeah.
They took... You see the scene where they take the children. They were the children of the Pasalik tribe on the plains of Russia. Incidentally, we think that's where the dragon motif came from. And they would take these children because you could train them, and they're already trained in riding horses. And Roman cavalry wasn't that good, you know. But the Pasalik tribes were fantastic riders, so you hire them. And
There was an excellent documentary about a whole troop of Roman cavalry which they formed up and recreated, and that was an excellent program. That.
that was the Equestriani. Or
Yes,
something.
it was. Something
They
like that.
found their bodies in Rome, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, they were.
and they recreated it. I thought that was fascinating, but that's another subject. Anyway, so call them knights. Knights is, like I said, a later Saxon term.
I think
In
that's.
this, and in this case, referring to like mid-medieval period.
I think that's basically a view for the viewers who don't know anything.
Well, yeah,
You have to accept that.
there's a lot of
majority
dumbing down in these videos.
Well, it's not dumbing down. It's like your average accountant doesn't know
Of
about
course-
King
well, no.
Arthur.
No, of
you
course
know,
not. No.
So they're making it accessible, I think is a better word, rather than dumbing down, because they present quite a few gory facts and things. But yeah,
Right, so the next scene you see Arthur on a horse, and he's like charging in battle or heading toward a battle. But he's got I don't see a shield in his arm. I think he's got one actually slung on the horse, which I saw later on, and he's got no helmet on. Which I never understand, why would you go in battle without a helmet on? It don't make sense, does it? I mean, if he's got the kit for mail and a sword, he's going to have a kit and the money to buy a helmet, for God's sake. So, you know, I know I'm just being picky, but that's just me. I would put a helmet on him. And then you see Clive Owen. He's just too cheerful in this movie. Is it me? or was it? Because I've not seen it for a while. I watched the trailer like we both did, but it just seemed to be too cheerful.
well,
You know, I know it's at that point, but every time I saw the trailer and I saw Clive Owen, he was smiling and like he must have had a lot of fun on this movie.
Yeah, well.
Well, they did. So there's that. So you know, perhaps he could have frowned a bit. And where is he now, Clive Owen? I don't know.
I keep thinking of Bill Owen. Copper.
And then the next scene you see him going into this old tomb, like a Bronze Age or Iron Age tomb, and then Arthur like changes his army. He's in like mail now with like an early Roman period piece of Roman armour on. So, you know, a bit of a contrast there between the later Locus Egmata and the earlier.
Well.
So, but I mean, generally these scenes look okay, and they do set the trailer for the movie. So, you know, which is generally very good. Different styles of armour. And then you see the fight scenes, and you see this semi-clad warriors tattooed and no shield. I mean,
Well, to be honest, at this point in time, there would have been no official Roman. Bear in mind, for 400 years or so, you had the Roman army, the most effective army history has seen. They disappear off the face of the earth, and you just got basically Dad's army left behind. Whether they'd have gone around with Woden, I think that's pre-Roman, but
so are you comparing King Arthur to Captain Mannering?
I was comparing the Roman Empire.
The Roman
Dad's
Empire.
army.
So
No.
Caesar's Mannering, is he?
No, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying.
Right, sorry.
The professional army,
Yeah.
Rome
Yeah.
leaves after
Yeah.
protection. What you're left now is with a load of old veterans,
Mercenaries.
perhaps the odd mercenary, and the average, I don't know, Joe in
Joe
the
Bloggs,
street.
yeah.
So you've then got to fight against an army of people who are pretty highly trained, and are going to try and kill you.
Oh yeah.
It says it in the film. In the villages there, kill everybody. And he kills a guy who rapes this woman. because he doesn't want his army polluted, as he says, by
Right.
woad blood.
So the next scene you see Lancelot, and he's got 2 swords on his back,
Yeah, well, nobody in the right mind has a sword on their back.
or 2 of them.
Yeah, because as you're doing that,
I mean, demonstrate there, look.
I know.
So I'm trying to pull my sword out.
I'll not
You can
stop.
demonstrate. I can't actually get my sword out of there.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't do it.
That's it.
I'm just been stabbed in the stomach by a knife. So that's a demonstration of why you should never carry a sword on your back. Because unless you've got very long arms
Or a very short sword.
or a very short sword, you're not going to get it back.
It's
Out, I mean.
it's just look groovy. I think.
Oh yeah, I suppose so. So and then you got the next scene of Keira Knightley, and she's wearing like a modern cut dress, revealing quite a lot of flesh. Now they didn't really reveal the flesh, did they, the women in those days? Unless you're like a whore, you could say, blatantly.
Not that you're being judgmental.
Well, perhaps the whores didn't do it either.
I don't know. Is the short
Ladies of
answer.
the night.
It's difficult because we're judging it from a 21st
Well, of course
century
so.
viewpoint now. Nakedness, nudity was in everyday life in Roman society.
Well, Romans were quite prolific with
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm sure there would have had a bit of leeway. I don't know. I don't know is the short answer what they would have looked like. I think they would dress accordingly. If there's a load of warriors around who've been out fighting, you keep yourself covered up.
But they could have used more accurate dresses instead of ones that look like from the 21st century. So that's just that, you know, from me. So, so semi-clad Saxon warriors burying all, everything revealing to you. You know, I've never seen a Saxon lady on camp looking like that, have you? I'm not,
To be honest,
maybe in the evening.
no, I haven't.
So and then you got the next scene of the burning of the village, and you got what are meant to be Saxons, but they look more like Vikings to me, coming in a massive column.
Yeah, they do. I see what you mean. It actually reminded me of Lord of the Rings when the orcs are about.
Yeah,
With the way they look, the way they act.
well, it was the same time period when this was out, Lord of the Rings was out.
Yeah.
So you can certainly see the influence of Lord of the Rings from this and
wonder if
Jackson's
I wonder
work.
if they got a job lot of weapons off of Lord of the Rings.
Well, you never know.
That was
But then the next
preposterous.
scene you see, well, like I said, the Saxons look more like Vikings to me. And yet again, hardly any of them got a helmet on.
Mm.
I mean, there would have been some helmets or some caps or hats.
Well, I must admit, the black leather and black fur people must have made a fortune out of this.
Well, they
film.
must have done, yes. And then we go to the wall scene. It looks good, but where it is meant to be set, I'm assuming the wall is meant to be Adrian's wall.
Yeah, I mean, Hadrian's Wall was actually in operation for about 100 years. When they got to it, it was actually derelict. It would have been bashed around a bit, but
I mean, to me, I'm not objecting the wall, I'm just objecting to the scenery, because the scenery didn't look like Scotland to me. Perhaps I'm wrong, I'm not bought the wall like Peter Dan has. So,
I think it's sort of desolate. And if you go
Yeah,
to the
it is
north of
desolate.
Derbyshire on the moors or Staffordshire,
Roman wall there.
no,
But generally it did look good. I mean, the fort they had, the Roman fort looked good, you know. But I mean, the thing about this movie, they spent a lot of time getting things right, but they also spent a lot of less time getting things wrong.
Well,
So that's Hollywood for
yeah,
you.
maybe they're on a time schedule or the budget was running out. I don't know.
And then you see Arthur on the wall, and he was in like a short modern top and leather pants. He could have been out of the cast of Sons of Anarchy on this one, I thought. Where's his motorbike?
Probably around the corner.
Yeah, so you know, yet again, they try to dress up these main characters in this modern-looking clothing, which is just historically wrong. And they could have just spent a little bit more effort and made something to look right. But,
Well, there's one.
you know,
There's a thing in the film that I've done. Films I've done. It's called the 10-foot rule, and that is if it looks good from 10 feet away, it's good enough.
yeah,
And that's the kind of attitude that most producers have. They just want to get the thing done and out the way so it's earning money.
yeah.
And then what they would call trivial details that annoy people like us like
Yeah.
crazy, they just totally ignore.
Well, of course, just say it's the industry.
Mm.
But hopefully, by talking about it, we can perhaps get the industry to change a little bit. Maybe. So if you're watching this, any directors from Hollywood, and please listen to what we're saying. In fact, you could hire us. We were advised, weren't we, Egil?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Cost them a bag of chocolate.
yeah. So and the people were too clean and modern haircuts. This is always one you talk about.
Yeah, people.
Let's have a drink of water.
They weren't as. I mean, the Vikings were looked on as being ultra clean, and they bathed once a week. Hairstyles. We're used to going to a bar. Well, I'm not going to a barber, having a hairstyle, and it's got to look perfect. Whereas in those days, you tied your hair back or you had it cut clean off. You didn't really care what it looked like. It was not till about the 9th, 10th century when the church forbade Norwegian haircuts. You know the guy in ABBA with the...
Yeah, you've been on. You mentioned this before.
Yeah, I'll probably mention it again.
You probably will.
But that's an extreme example.
Yeah.
If you've been out in the fields all day, you're going to be messy and dirty. That's how everybody was.
So the next scene, we've not got many more to go.
In fact, I've got something more to add.
Yeah, go on.
When you talk about people having blue blood in their veins,
Oh yes.
dates from this period, because they were the ones who washed all the time, and you could see the blood vessels, and they thought they had blue blood in them,
Yeah.
and that's where you get it from. Ooh, looks like we're getting coffee.
Yeah, my best mug outside. Never mind. Anyway, I like coffee though.
Who doesn't?
So the next thing you see, you think King Arthur, he's holding the sword, but I can't tell whether this is a single-handed sword or a two-handed sword, and a two-handed sword would be a much later thing, wouldn't it? So
I think so.
small point, but
Yeah.
there you go. And then you see the lone Saxon, which you like, the warrior. I can't remember his name, but
Something Stengard.
he did a great job
Yeah.
first as Arthur. But yet again, this Saxon to me looks more like a Viking. You know, if you took him and put him into the Viking series, then he'll fit in perfectly.
But he was wearing a Saxon tunic.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
see that point.
It's a long, you know, the Saxons wore
Yeah.
these long tunics, or
But-
gowns.
Well, perhaps it's just the conception. Perhaps the Vikings and the Saxons actually look both very similar.
Well, it doesn't,
really.
doesn't help that he comes from Denmark.
No, so yeah, so there's that. And then you got the battle scene, which looks good, but yet again in the battle there was a lack of helmets. I know it's a small minor point, but in authenticity values there would have been some. That's all I'm trying to say there.
What annoys me with the battle scene is the weapons they have. They've got this ubiquitous bat-headed axe. They didn't have them. They take it from the Labrys, which is pre-Christian era. You go to Minos in Crete, they've got the Labrys axe there, but they didn't have them. You think of the iron, you could have two axes for one there, and it's unwieldy and everything else. And some of the other, I mean, crossbows, they didn't have them.
Yeah, was the crossbows in it?
I'm afraid so.
Yeah.
There was a lot of crossbows.
I didn't see that in the trailer, so there you go. A typical example of putting the wrong equipment in the wrong era.
But it's like I
And,
said to you,
yeah,
they
but-
probably got a job lot of Lord of the
Well,
Rings.
they may have done, or some medieval movie perhaps.
Well, the Chinese had crossbows in,
Well, of course, they had a repeating crossbow as well.
but not in.
But they didn't travel from Asia to Europe in that time
Not
period.
in Hadrian's Wall, they didn't. Anyway, let's put it that way.
And then you got the flaming bow arrows, which is bow arrows. Can't say that word very well.
Arrows, flaming arrows.
So that was good. I enjoyed that. And then you see the roaded, painted warriors, that look like pits or colts, you know, either from the west or east coast of Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, at this time, most people were urbanised, so they'd have the tunics, as we call them, skelters, and some form of footwear. They wouldn't bother painting themselves blue. These people were terrified. Let's face it, you've got trained warriors coming who want to kill you, or do worse. And what have you got? A pointy stick,
Oh yeah.
or a farm implement. You know, painting yourself blue. No, that's. I think that was the time that had gone. I mean, the Picts, yes, it means painted man, but painted man means tattoos.
Because the pits came from the.
Scotland.
I know, but the east coast of Scotland, where the girls they came from the west coast. I always found that quite interesting. There must have been some kind of a border and some kind of mergence of the two cultures, perhaps. Well, that's another story. So yeah, so you got these painted warriors, which is wrong. and you got the ice scene on this icy lake, which to me is just ridiculous. I mean, who in their right mind would choose to fight on a lake? I wouldn't, would you?
I wouldn't personally, but then again,
I know it was made for dramatic effects for the ice breaking, but realistically, I don't think there's ever been a battle on ice, has there?
Not as far as I know,
No.
but I suppose you ground where you have to fight, but I don't know.
And then you see them, I think you see Lancelot with the two swords on the back, which we already talked about earlier, and he draws them out. He must have very long arms, Lancelot. Perhaps I should call him Lancelot Longarm. Anyway, so there's that. I don't like to see swords on the back, and perhaps we'll do a video on that one day and have to demonstrate and talk about it, why it's impractical to have two swords on your back.
You heard it here first.
And now the next one for you is the trebuchet scene.
Yeah, don't.
Medieval siege equipment.
The organised battery of trebuchet. The trebuchet is about 12th century.
13.
Well, the crazy thing is, they could have used the Roman catapulta
Yeah, I had that mentioned down here.
and the ballista,
The ballista, yes.
which would have been around, and I'm sure they'd have had people there, old veterans, who would know how to make it.
Perhaps I could get one second hand. But yeah, I mean, yet again, I know it's a very small-minded point,
Yeah.
but they could have used, like Egil says, something more equivalent to the Roman era or the end of the Roman era, and not use something from the 12th or 13th century. And in fact, you can go on eBay and buy a trebuchet for about £5,500 at the moment.
All right.
Well, there's that anyway. So the trebuchet, and you got the fight scene at the end, and no doubt these fight scenes at the end are the best bits of the
Oh,
film.
yeah, very enjoyable.
So that was generally the review of the trailer. Overall, I think it's got some great qualities to the film, but in many ways it just lets itself down.
There's one big howler. They kill Lancelot off. Well, in the
Yes.
legend, Lancelot actually runs off with Guinevere for about 30 years. That's
Well,
one of the big points.
That's a good 3 decades, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, no doubt we'll talk about King Arthur and the actual talking of King Arthur in a video in the future. Perhaps you want to do, Egil, for the channel?
Overall, it's a good film, and they always say a little education's a wonderful thing. It is, but do not play with your mind when you're watching a film. It's supposed to be, well, they don't lay claim to historical accuracy, but it's like an itch you can't get to when you see these things, and mostly they are able to be attended to.
I think one thing we're not talked about is Ray Winston being in the film. I mean, you couldn't get any more Cockney gangster style actor playing a part he played.
He has one or two funny lines.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I suppose I'll have
You
to
can see
marry
why I
him
was in
now.
it, and I do enjoy the movies he's in generally, so,
Yeah.
you know, if you're watching this way, you can give it a thumb up, please. Share
like-
the video.
I like him in 44-inch chest. That's a good film.
Yeah, I've not seen that for a long time. So overall, you know, I think it's a good film. It's good that it's bringing attention to King Arthur, and I'll probably give it a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. But, you
I've
know,
got a little bit more, but
It's
for
not-
me, it's just that I enjoy the film. It's not too dreadful.
no,
It's just that people like us, we're a bit anally retentive when it comes to
it's
things
far
like
better than the
that.
last one we watched, the last trailer.
Oh, Head and
Which was
Shoulders.
the King Arthur, the Legend of the Sword. Although I did start watching that the other day, and I must say the movie is far better than the trailer. But you just got to take it as a fantasy film and not actual film.
No.
So, now, what film would you like us to review next? I'm thinking about a Robin Hood one, perhaps the classic Robin Hood and Thieves trailer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Or there's another Robin Hood film, Robin Hood Excalibur Rising. We could do that. Or are you getting a bit bored of Robin Hood, of King Arthur film trailer reviews? So perhaps I'll look for something else. Perhaps we could do the Vikings, review that, because you got that on video.
Oh, the Kirk Douglas one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've got a lot of praise for that.
yeah, that's a good film. So perhaps we might actually review the film instead of the trailer, because I don't think there is one.
Yeah, we don't want to come across as Grumpy Saurus.
Oh no.
Or as Grumpy Saurus as Rex, but I
Well,
think.
perhaps I do more than Egil does.
But the thing is, that if there's howling mistakes, you've got the internet, for goodness sake. There's no real reason why you don't go and have a flick through.
Well,
or
there's
ask
no reason
somebody.
today, with the research you can do and all the professional academics out there, including yourself, who could, you know, be hired to offer opinions, or even just reenactors like me. I've got a lot to say about these things, as you've already heard for the last 20 minutes or so.
You just said it, reenacting societies usually know more about the weapons and tactics and various artifacts than people who you think would know more.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that's the end of this video. Now, if you have enjoyed this, let's grab my drinking vessel, which is a bit later from the pier I'm dressed as.
Mine's empty.
Yes. Please go and check out the other channel trailer reviews. There's a card up there, playlist. And we'll see you in the next video. It's a goodbye from me, Bragi.
And it's a good night from him.
Good
Egil.
night. Good night.
Good night. See, look, nothing in it. I wasn't lying.
Mm.